Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is drawingXpressions, live streaming here on YouTube. I'm Parz, the creative writing guy, and happy to be here. Happy to be back. Just happy to be here. Yeah, I wasn't here the last couple of weeks, and but it's good to be back. Me, my coffee. There we go. Awesome. So, welcome. And how are you doing? I hope you're doing well. I am. And it's good to see you, Celeste. Thanks for throwing a hi into the chat. If there's anyone else here, please reach out. Let us know that you're here. And if you're catching this on the replay, please say hi in the chat. We do check that, and we respond. We're nice people. We don't bite. There we go. Okay. Let's just kind of get going with our stuff, shall we? So as we're sort of getting into things now, before I get into it, I should note that I'm a little bit like the joke secretary person, right? Who goes on coffee break, comes back, and needs to be trained again. So I'm sort of working my way through all the stuff that I've done in the past, and a little cobwebby. So if it's a little bit disorganized, a little bit strange, a little bit weird, well, you know, welcome. We're gonna get through it. Okay, here we go. Things to know, and the one big thing to know about everything that we do here is that it's all guidelines based. We don't like rules. In fact, one of the strict guidelines is that we don't put the rules on the little card. We only put the guidelines. They bend. And they bend nicely, so yeah, there we go. The class structure. So we do have the two pieces for the planners and the pantsers. The planners being the ones who sit back and chart out what it is that they want to write, their stories and things, and the pantsers just sort of sit down and it was a dark and stormy night, go. And Lord knows where you end up. Anyways, today's planner section, we're going to be focusing on it's the Moss Piglet submission that's coming up. It's going to be for the prompt Westerns. And we're going to be talking about Westerns and what happens if there is a prompt that you want to participate in, but it's not necessarily your jam. So we're going to get into all of that. And the pantser section, I'm still a little bit up in the air as to what it is that I'm going to be talking on. So really honoring the pantser section today. I've got some ideas, and I've got some stuff sitting back here, and we'll figure out what that's going to be when we get there, I guess. Anyways, as we make our way through, let's just sort of get our minds and our bodies ready for some writing with a little bit of breathing, a little bit of stretching. So it's been a while, so maybe you've forgotten that we square breathe around here. So I'm just going to invite you to breathe in now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and hold. 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale. 2, 3, 4, 5, and hold. 2, 3, 4, 5. Big breath in. And a little stretch. Exhale. There we are. That felt good. Okay. So a couple of things before we dive into the planner section of the day. First off, this is live, and so my cats today have been very live. I had one pacing back and forth across the front here before we went live, so they've settled down. Hopefully they stay that way. I think they were just thrilled that Dad's going to be back on camera, and they just wanted some camera time too. They just didn't realize it wasn't on yet. So that's one thing. Another thing, and I haven't mentioned this at all, but over my shoulder here, see if I can point it out. There we go. Sort of like up there, the little dudes and little hands. Let's get out of the way here. So each week there has been a little vignette, something going on with the little wooden dudes up there. And it's just supposed to be like a little Easter egg, a little bit of fun, a little bit of thing. We never mentioned it because it's just like, oh, if you see it, right? And then like your eye will go back to it, you know, episode after episode, and maybe you didn't see it. It was just sort of there to be discovered. But I'm mentioning it today, and I am hoping, just give you another glance here, I'm hoping that everything there looks open and welcoming and happy. Given the state of affairs of the world, and it's not just one part in the world, there are many parts of the world where things are just ugly and divisive and mean-spirited. Really, the application of inhumane solutions to humanity's problems. I wanted to just have a little something on screen that said, we're welcome, we're welcoming, we're open, we are non-judgmental, and come along and participate. And so that is going to stay up for the next few live streams. At some point, I'll probably change it. But for right now, it is going to be, it's going to be up there like that. And yes, as my lovely lady love and moderator who is watching our chat has helpfully mentioned, we are Canadian, proudly Canadian, living in Thailand and proudly living in Thailand. So yeah, we watch what is going on in Canada in particular, and yeah, so we're okay. Anyways, enough about the world in general. Let's just start talking about our creative writing world for the next little bit. So, as I said, the prompt is Westerns. Let me just bring up the call for submissions, the screen here. There we go. So this is what got sent out by the Crazines folks. So if you do choose to participate, and again, they're looking for visual art, poems, photography, prose, fiction, and non, and comics. And the submission deadline is Wednesday, March the 5th. It's the first Wednesday of the month, always is. And there we go. There is sort of the idea as to what they're looking for. So cowboys and saloons and gunfights and horses and all that stuff. Now, not everyone's jam, and it's not my jam. I, you know, growing up, had the Bonanza and other Western types of shows. I know a little bit about the Western genre, but you've pretty much heard everything that I know, just in that little bit of a list, right? You know, cowboys and such. So what do you do? I'm just going to bring it over here. What do you do when you've got a difficult prompt? You want to participate, but it's a difficult prompt for you. Other people may find that it is a very easy prompt. You know, Louis L'Amour, he had an entire career writing Westerns. But what are we going to do? Well, I've got some ideas. And so let's kind of get into that. So this is going to be going to lead to a writing exercise, and at any point along the discussion you want to sort of head off and do your own thing, perfect. If you want to watch me from beginning to end, that's perfect too. So I'm going to provide exit ramps. At least I'm going to try to. And at some point, if you wanted to go off and do your own thing, when I'm coming back, it'll be the breathe and stretch screen that'll let you know that we're done with this particular section and I'm moving on to the next. Okie dokie. Let me get my notes up. So, come on, you fool thing. Thank you. Over here to sharing my screen. So, what do we do when we're working with a prompt that is a difficult prompt? It's not our jam. So, and I've written this list out just in terms of doing Westerns. Excuse me. Just in terms of doing Westerns, but this is going to apply to any difficult prompt where you want to participate. Because the first thing, actually I'm going to come back to the room. The first thing to know is you always have the option to not participate, right? That is a choice that is available to you. And I could have taken it. Instead, I chose to reframe, and I was like, you know, how much Western do I have to go in order to have it work? So I came up with some ideas. So the first thing is we can run straight at the prompt, okay? We can work with the prompt as given. So come up with like historical fiction or nonfiction, write maybe a documentary script, do something that is very, very heavy into the Western genre, right? You could, I mean, TV shows are still being written with, you know, horse heavy, you know, saloon, gun toting, cowboy stuff. You can still do that. Not my jam, and that's not where I'm going to go. We can use Western as the start for something else. Memories of watching Westerns on TV, right? I used to watch Bonanza on TV, and other, you know, cowboy-y types of stuff. Maybe that would be sort of a memory of, like, you know, watching black and white TV and watching people ride back and forth. I don't know, but it's something. You just use it as sort of like a memoir or a memory kind of thing. Maybe you've visited a Western-themed town. There's themed towns, you know, throughout the world for various odd things. Maybe you've been to one that's a Western theme. Maybe you'd like to write about that, something that happens there. Or we can reframe the prompt entirely, and we can do something more different and maybe redefine what Westerns is. Or we can just take an element or two elements and discard the rest and just use little bits that will work. And that is where I have chosen to go. So I have a couple of things that I have written already that will be submitted. And one is a look at what if frogs were gunfighters, or they want to be gunfighters. What might that look like? Who knows? That actually came from a prompt from a frog. And then I just ended up writing about it for Westerns, and it just like, it fits really, really well here. Or you can write something that is more modern day, but takes you into a Western setting. So I've got another story where someone makes a wrong turn and they end up in a situation that they are not familiar with and interact with a Western type person. It's a short story, but it's lovely. And we can do that. So what I'm going to invite us to do today is to work with a format that I really enjoy. And just for simplicity, I'm going to call it the list. Now, what does that, first off, what is it? And what does it enable us to do? Well, we can use something to kind of highlight maybe a funny bit or like some element that we want to just like kind of hit on and be, it's really works well for humor. And so that is what I wrote for today. And I'm going to invite us to sort of start from the same place that I'm going to sort of start in on and then work our way through. And hopefully it's going to make sense. So this is sort of your first exit ramp is if you would like to write to a list, and I can show you a little sample of what I have, and then we can use that to springboard into writing something for our own purposes. Okay. So let me just bring this up. Let's see here. One second. Okay. Let me share my screen. There we go. So this is where I'm inviting you to start. So welcome to Forgotten History. I'm Roger Rutley. Now, from there, you could maybe start to develop the list of things that you want to talk about. In this particular list, I am going to be talking about the names of criminals and gangs that did not exist in those times, but let's just suppose they did exist. And we're going to use it to highlight funny stuff. At least I hope it's funny. I'm going to scroll just a little bit, and I'm going to show you what it is that I'm talking about. Okay, so welcome to Forgotten History. I'm Roger Rutley. So, right, so I'm setting this up like a documentary kind of thing. And here we go. While the names of some criminals and gangs of the Wild West are readily known, Butch Cassidy, Sundance Kid, and the Dalton Gang, to name a few, many others have had their names disappear into the mists of time. And this is the entry point for actually starting to list out the different criminals, the different things. Now, if you want to start here, sort of this opening paragraph, this is a great place to start. And then you can start to name your own criminals, your own gangs, maybe have a descriptive list, or a descriptor, so that you know why it is that they are getting included into this comical list. As an example. And there we go. Who remembers Black Bertha's bearded bandits? Famous in their day for relieving passengers politely of their valuables while wearing women's clothing, they became something of a tourist attraction. So much so that rather than pressing charges, the railroad company hired them to entertain people during the multi-day trip to California's gold rush. Black Bertha's bearded bandits. So I just thought, that's an interesting name. It's fun. And yeah. So here's sort of another place that we can sort of exit ramp. So here's an example of what I'm talking about with what we can do. And so I'm just going to come back to here. So I think I'm just going to start from there and bring up a screen and start to list off just maybe one or two more of the bandit criminals types of things, and with it some descriptive type things. Have some fun with it. Anyways, that is where I'm going to go. I am going to take a quick sip of coffee, catch my breath, because apparently I'm talking a lot today. Okay, so I'm going to come back to, let's see now here. Here's my blank. Oops, you know what I'm going to do first is capture and get my writing tablet up. As I said, I'm not exactly the most organized today. So here we go. Just capture the rest of this bit. There we go. And I will copy that onto page. There we go. Okay. So we've got Black Bertha's Bearded Bandits. And there we go. Okay. And now let's come over to the screen. Okay. So there's our start. And I've got some notes down below in case I start drawing blank while I'm working here. But let's just see what we can come up with just on the fly. And failing that, then I'll reach into my little bag of tricks down below and pull out one that I've come up with already. So let's just start to talk about, so let's have another lead-in sentence for another gang or, yeah, Black Bertha's Bearded Bandits. I mean, what else can we do? And I am right now drawing a blank, so I am going to reach into my little bag of tricks. And then there was the Bob Ross gang. Notorious art thieves that were also interior decorators and worked to make many of the hideouts comfortable and well decorated. Comfortable and stylish. Let's go with stylish. So the Bob Ross gang, why not? So we have maybe a reference to, was Bob Ross really Bob? Was that his name, Bob Ross? Yeah, it was. But let's just maybe play with that a little bit. The Bob Ross gang. Why not? Have some fun. Let's see now here. Can we coming up with like another gang name? And again, I'm drawing a blank. Okay, well, I'm just gonna go with okay, and okay, not and, okay. Here we go. Noxious Nick. Noxious Nick's donkey rustlers. Known throughout the Texas Panhandle for stealing the most disagreeable are donkeys equines? We're gonna go with that, and if it's not, we'll fix it on edit. Okay, disagreeable equines known in that day. So Noxious Nick's donkey rustlers. And I'm going to put in one more, and again, I'm going to reach into what I prepared earlier, and I'm glad that I prepared earlier. See now here also forgotten. Oops. Were Lucy's. Let's scroll up just to get some space. Loosies Goosies. Now, loosey-goosey means very loose, relaxed, not very focused, very loosey-goosey, right? It's just very amorphous. So, and also forgotten were Loosies Goosies, a gang that never once engaged in a shootout or horse chase. Instead, at the first sign of trouble, first sign of trouble, they'd surrender. Okay. There we go. So Loosies Goosies. So we've just had a little bit of fun here. I hope that you've seen inserted inside here. So the Bob Ross gang, making reference to someone famous. They could play Duck Duck Goose. Noxious Nick, the donkey rustlers. So something unusual. So like a very specific kind of criminal, right? Not horse rustlers, they're donkey rustlers. And Loosies Goosies, so making reference to a fun English, or a fun saying in English, right? So we can do that. All these and countless others were once known, were once infamous. Let's go with that. Were once infamous, but are now simply forgotten. And we can use that to sort of wrap up, almost like a little 3-minute spot, right? A 3-minute commercial, right? So we can have that be, they're now simply forgotten, and now we can have the person come on and say, this has been, what was our name again? I'm just gonna scroll it. Roger Rutley for Forgotten History. Okay, I'm Roger Rutley, and this has been Forgotten History. There we go. So sort of a fun little thing, right? So this is my kind of list where it plays with the just playfully playing with English, playfully playing with people who have come before, playfully playing just with the whole idea of a very specific kind of criminal. And I'm sure you have other ideas in there as well. So that is where I'm going to put the, or leave the planner section, this piece of story. It can be edited later and tightened up and made better, but for right now, this is going to work for what I'd like. Okay, so I'm going to come back to here. And actually, I said I'm going to take us to the breathe and stretch screen before we move on. So get this out of my lap. So I'm going to invite you to take a nice deep breath in. And stretch. Oh. Oy. Excuse me. And there's an exhale in there somewhere. Sorry. You may have noticed I'm wearing a different shirt. These are way more comfortable. So, and that is going to sort of lead us into the the pantser section today. Being comfortable, making choices, finding your creativity in hard times. All of that and more. Call up my notes real quick so I can remember what it is, some of the things that I was thinking about as I was sort of putting this little bit together. So, as I said, the last couple weeks, they have been, oh boy, have they been a couple of weeks. And this year has been difficult. So taking the last couple of weeks off, 1 week was going to happen anyway. That was more of a administrative, dealing with just stuff. And the other was a bit more physical. I ended up falling in the bathroom, so that was not a good thing. So healed nicely, but you know, you have to deal with that stuff as well. So between sort of the stuff of your day and dealing with whatever, the ordinary turns of the day, the bits that kind of come in out of the blue, like slipping in the bathroom, dealing with world situations and everything in between, right? It all kind of occupies your head, and it can make being creative very difficult. For me, when I have story that is coming to me, it flows. Alicia and I banter an awful lot, and story will just sort of develop from that. I will observe something, and something will just kind of come up and be like, that's kind of funny, or it just intersects in a way, or it just sort of comes. And then within my creative process, the ideas kind of come, and then I start to tease them and talk to them and figure out what it is that they're saying. And then I start to write it down, I scribe, and then eventually you come to editing, right? And that's something that we do a lot here as well, right? Where we're coming up with an idea, sort of toying with it, write some stuff down, and then later on we can take what we've written and work with it. And it's really, really hard when your head, when you just can't hear yourself think, when there is just so much on your mind that's just going on, or you're just not feeling up to snuff. Maybe you're taking a medication that is causing your head to be a bit cloudy. Maybe just the thoughts of the terrible things that are happening in the world, in your part of the world and other parts of the world. It can all just get to be too much. And so me being here, this was not a sure thing. This was not a sure thing. It was sort of, it was touch and go. Some days I felt good. Some hours I felt good. Other hours not so good. And so it was very much a, will I be here? Will I do this? And in the end, I am here, and I am happy to be here. It's very reminiscent of when people talk about like the sun and clouds, right? The sun is always shining. Sometimes it's not in your part of the world, and sometimes there's a cloud that gets between you and the sun, and so things can seem kind of dismal or shadowy, or just harder, not so bright, not so warm. But the sun is there, and you, even in the middle of your shadow, in the middle of your cotton-headedness, in the middle of your blah moments, just know that the sun is there. And even if you don't feel it, even if you don't believe it, even if it is just one of those impossible things that just in that moment, you're just like, there's no sun. No, no, I'm just going to retreat into my little cave, and I'm going to hunker in, and I'm just going to make my way through. That is, by the way, a perfectly valid solution to waiting for the clouds to kind of go away. And I did some of that, right? 2 weeks. That was me. I was hiding away in my little cave, waiting for things to kind of clear up, to the point where I was here enough that I was able to make the decision, or to have my routine help me decide to be here. Thursday came, this past Thursday, and Thursday is when I prep my classes. Thursday came and I found myself prepping this class. Not well, apparently, because I'm still scattered, but prepping the class nonetheless. And I did, write down my notes and things. And that was good. And then sort of, the clouds came back and am I going to do it? Am I not? Sunday comes around, Sunday morning, and the decision gets made. I'm here. But with the full support of my lovely lady love, who said, you don't have to if you don't want to. If you're not feeling it, just cancel it. And for which I am super appreciative and grateful to be given those reminders that this is a hobby for me, and hopefully is enjoyable and brings me happiness, satisfaction, and it is. Oddly enough, me rambling right now, I feel pretty good about this. Maybe it's just because I like rambling, I don't know. Anyway, so one of the things that I want to share today with everyone is one of the ways to kind of help deal with all of the stuff that might be in your head. All the stuff you're dealing with personally, all the stuff that's happening globally, and everything in between. And it involves notebooks. So bear with me for just a second. I'm just gonna grab my notebook here. So this is, a little A5 notebook, a little Parker pen. And I had everything written down in my book, notes, class ideas, various drawings, notation ideas, everything. It was really I ramble authentically. Thank you. So everything was in this book using black ink, which is great. But the difficult thing here is that there was so much that was in here, it actually was difficult to sort through all my stuff. And the A5 it's a nice size, but it's hard to get it perpendicular here. But it is a little bit tight, a little bit squeezy. And I wouldn't know that until I had, just a second. These B5 notebooks come into my life. So this is one right here. Lovely purple color. Go. And my first page on this notebook, this is ideas may come and they may go, although not if this book has any say. So this is where I'm writing all of my story ideas. And also class ideas. So this is, what goes in here. And I had an idea to actually write something else for the planner section. I'll share it with you because it's here and I forgot to have it open. And that was using someone's name with the last name of West and then attributing some type of thing to them and calling them Westerns. So I thought that would be a fun way to do a different kind of list. And in my idea, it was Adam West, so the TV actor from Batman way back in the 1960s. And so having supposing that Adam West was involved in sort of workshopping campy villains and having him fight them on TV. So I had things like Buckaroo Banzai. So that was a rejected idea, but then turned into a campy movie. Things like a Darth Fordor, you know, something that would maybe inspire George Lucas when he wrote Star Wars for Darth Vader. King Crimson, so the band. And then, you know, ridiculous stuff like Kangaroo Kick and Baby Bunny, because, I mean, it was sort of fun and campy and whatnot. Anyways, that was just an idea. Never got around to it on Planner, but it was just an idea of reframing the Western. So anyway, if I had had my notebook open, I might have remembered. But they're so new, I forgot to open it. Next time. Anyways, my story ideas, I have a to-do list, which is here. Bright colors. I do like my bright colors. And then I've got pens. So I've got my black ink. I've got blue ink up in another one. And then I've got these gel pens that I have rescued from Alicia. She's got a bunch of gel pens that she doesn't use. And so I was like, well, I'll grab some of those colors. And so I can have things that are notated in color as well. And so that does a few things. Number one, I get to be creative in a way that I'm not normally creative. So playing with color. I get to, yeah, thank you for writing that down in chat. It's writing things down in an analog fashion. It enables me to remember better what it is that's going on. And maybe I should have written down, open the notebook. I didn't, so I forgot. So having it in analog. I used to be a very digital guy. I actually, you know, made my own to-do list in Google Sheets, and it would just come up every day with the things that I'd have to tick off and to get done. And I find writing it down is a lot more satisfying. It's a lot easier. I still have digital reminders come up for things that I typically will forget, or just as a placeholder for things that that are repeating, right? So you don't want to have to write them down every single day or every week or whatever. So having the something that comes up that's digital, that's where I can just sort of set it and leave it, and then it pops up. That's nice. But something where I'm focusing and want to dive in maybe a little bit more, especially when I come back to it, like writing down story ideas. This is a wonderful way to do it. So separate out your notebooks in a way that makes sense to you, but then you can also put stuff away and not have to, you know, think about it until it's out and open, and there you can sort of focus for a little bit, close it up, and move on. And you're not trying to sort through all of the various odd thoughts that you've had for however long, just in this, you know, page after page after page. It gets to be just hard to manage. Anyways, doing that really helped me clear my head so that I can focus better on story, being creative, and being here live, and being creative live. And so that is my idea for you, and I hope it works out. So let me know. Anyway, that is what I wanted to express for today. So working with a difficult prompt and some different methodologies for addressing that. And then the other is how to deal with the difficult times in your life, and still trying to find the ability to be creative and finding some strategies to work your way through difficult times, and allowing yourself to hibernate if you need to hibernate. Yeah, so that be that. And I do want to highlight that Alicia just said she started analog journaling. She does this wonderful thing of intersects journaling and sort of record keeping and whatnot. It's bullet journaling, and quite expansive. I had no idea. She started researching it, and my head just wanted to pop with all of the different ways that you can record information and talk about your day and whatnot, and all of the various odd methods that people have developed over time. You can longhand it, you can shorthand it. People have, we had a friend who was doing haiku journaling to wrap up their day, right? So there's all sorts of ways to do that, but it's all analog. And the one last thing I will say about analog is once you've written it down in your book, you've written it down in your book. No one's going to come through and delete it. It's not going to suddenly disappear. There's not going to be a hack attack on a particular platform that's going to steal your information, that's going to delete your information, that's going to demand ransom to get your information back. It's in your book. It's there. So, yeah. So that's that. Enough rambling. Enough rambling for today. Let's just start to wrap things up here. So I'm going to make my way over to our drawingXpressions haiku. So a creative space, holistically supportive. Please like, share, and subscribe. And you know we're supportive. You know we're open. Right there, little dudes. So yeah, please do like, please do share, please do subscribe. It helps us to help you and helps you to help us, and it's very helpy. If you reach out or you post on social media or what have you, please use the hashtag DXLiveWithParz, as it is stated there on the screen, on Instagram or on Facebook. Yeah, I will look and yeah, reach out. Anyways, with all of that said, thank you so much. Thank you for bearing with me as I sort of unloaded, 3 weeks worth of stuff, detritus, and shared with you today. I look forward to next time, which I think will be next week, and unless I feel the need to hibernate again, but it should be. Until then, thank you so much, and take care of yourselves. Take care of everyone. Okay, bye-bye.